All right, happy Friday Eve, everyone, and welcome to another great Lunch and Learn. Today we have Broward College. Joelle Hutchings is going to be speaking with us about their supply chain education program. Joelle is the director of the Center for Supply Chain Education at Broward College. She has been working for Broward College since 2014 and was instrumental in the development of the SC Pro Fundamentals certification program. Joelle previously worked at FAU as an assistant administrator or manager of the Davie campus, where she also earned her Master of Education degree in Educational Leadership, Higher Education, in 2011. So you guys will see Joelle here on the screen. Wave at everyone, Joelle. And I will turn over to you, Joelle, if you want to go ahead and share your presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alexa. I'm just going to give it a moment to load here. Awesome. Okay, I want to first of all, thank Alexa for providing this opportunity to speak here today and give you a little bit of information about the program at Broward College. Um, so I'm going to go into detail about how our program came to be. I'm going to talk a little bit about two of the individual certification courses that I think might be of the most interest to y'all, and how those courses can be taken, the associated costs and benefits to professionals. I'm then going to pass the remaining presentation over to my colleague, the Associate Dean for the 4-credit program, Dr. Preston Steele, and we'll wrap up with some questions. I'll also provide the presentation and any documentation that I may speak of to Alexa to go ahead and distribute once we finish up today.
And before you begin, Joelle, Dr. Steele says in the chat that he's having issues hearing. Try disconnecting and reconnecting with us and see if that will resolve. Want to make sure you're able to hear us and connect when Joelle tosses to you. Let me know if you're still having issues when you return.
It looks like he did just readmit. So if he
I
is having,
did, and I can hear you
oh,
now.
awesome.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it off then. Here's just a little bit of the history of our program. On the screen, you're going to see the all the certification courses that we offer. They're all within supply chain management, but can be taken individually. So in 2015, Broward College led a consortium of 9 other colleges and 3 universities to create the coursework that prepares students for these 8 certification exams. The certifications are endorsed by our industry partner, the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals, who we usually refer to as CSCMP. The project was funded through a very large U.S. Department of Labor grant to support our targeted industry of logistics and distribution. It concluded, the grant program concluded in 2017, and Broward College and CSCMP continue their partnership with my program, known as the Center for Supply Chain Education at Broward College, exclusively managing these certification courses. So building on the success of the grant, we were able to develop a comprehensive program that offers the coursework and certifications beyond that initial consortium of colleges and universities. We now have colleges all over the country, universities, community organizations, and employers that utilize the program. What's referred to as the SC Pro Fundamentals, that's the CSCMP branding for these certifications. They assess a student's competency in the learning blocks of the end-to-end supply chain. And then each one of the certification courses focuses on one area, but they all include what we call the common learning blocks. And I'll kind of dive deeper into that in a later slide, but each one of the certification courses goes into its base content and then has a little separate area of what we refer to as common learning blocks, so that um, whomever is taking it doesn't have to take, let's say, supply chain management principles first to understand the basics of the end-to-end supply chain. Some companies, I just want to mention this, do offer a course that parallels the employee's career at the time, and others just prefer to offer something completely different to get some cross training in there. Okay, here's where I'm going to kind of go into just a little bit of the detail on two of our courses. So, our supply chain management principles course is quite a popular course. It's what we refer to as an overview of the 7 other courses. So the key elements of this class include the definition of supply chain, and then the various flows within the supply chain. And so those would be customer service operations, demand planning, inventory management, manufacturing, procurement, transportation, and warehousing. So there's in each of those learning blocks, sort of, if you think of them like chapters, they cover one of those areas in that end-to-end supply chain. It also includes an explanation of how the supply chain supports organizations' strategic and financial goals. And here's the other certification course that I'm going to review for you today, and it's the procurement track. The title of it is the supply management and procurement. So this course provides students with an understanding of basic strategic sourcing, supplier management, procurement execution processes, so that they can become effective contributors in those specific procurement areas. And then what we call key elements of this course include strategic, tactical, and operational procurement, procurement organization structures, legal and regulatory considerations, the interaction of procurement organizations with the rest of the supply chain, and typical difficulties encountered in procurement processes. Any of our certification courses can be taken in what I'm about to discuss in either a self-study mode or an instructor-led mode. So self-study, and the cost should be $260 per participant per certification track. So that self-study is just as it sort of states. Each participant or student would log in and study at their own pace. And you can, even if you would want from your organization, designate a facilitator for the course at no additional cost. We just enroll them as an instructor so that they can sort of watch and see how everyone is doing along the way. Do you have any questions? Do you need to catch up on something? You going a little too fast? Whatever that may be. So that's also an opportunity with the self-study class. And this includes access to our online study portal, a printable copy. It's just a PDF of the same exact content, and the corresponding certification exam. So that's all within that same price. We do say that for self-paced students, the length of study is somewhere approximately between 20 and 25 hours for each of these certification courses. And with the instructor-led, you can see it's at a higher cost. It's $699 per student per certification course, and that's to obviously fund our instructor. But it's the same information. We provide all the content, online portal, as well as providing some PowerPoint resources that an instructor can use, a facilitator can use for this content. Okay, so Alexa is just asking if there's a certain amount of time that a course needs to be completed in self-study. It's the same amount of time, whether it's instructor-led or self-study. We allow for 1 year from the time that participants access the course and they have to complete the certification in that same amount of time. So 1 year from access with the content. And we do give a little bit of flexibility there if something happens, but generally that's the standard. Okay. We also offer a customized landing page for all organizations. This is at no extra cost. This is just something that we do so that whomever is logging in, whether it's employees, students, whatever that may be, is familiar with that site. We usually do this with at least 10 enrollees. And this is Broward College's landing page for fundamentals for our certifications right here. You can see there's a logo, but it would just be your organization's logo, Broward County, and a picture provided here. If there's anything. Oh, and this customization here, it usually takes about a week to set up, but it's nice for anyone that is utilizing the content on a regular basis. This is just a screenshot of the online platform that we use, the portal. You can see on the left-hand side and the right, there are 2 circles up there for learning blocks and then the common learning blocks. And just wanted to mention the print version has the same exact content as our online portal. It just doesn't include any activities. So in the online version, within each of the learning blocks, there's some sort of an activity, whether it be a game to kind of familiarize participants with what is being discussed in that particular learning block. Sometimes it's a little practice quiz, those types of things, matching for our activities. So that would be the only thing missing in the print version, but you wouldn't be missing out on any content that would be in the certification exam. Okay. So I wanted to go into just a little bit more detail about the learning blocks and the common learning blocks, the difference between the two. The learning blocks, this is the bulk of the content in your course. So it's like the chapters in your book. If you're in the transportation course, that's going to be your main content, is those learning blocks. On that right-hand side there, you see circled common learning blocks. We embedded the common learning blocks into all 8 of our certification courses to be able to review end-to-end supply chain. And this is just because we don't require that anyone takes any particular certification course, or if they are going to take multiple, they don't take them in any specific order. So we want participants to be familiar with that end-to-end supply chain, even if they just plan on taking demand planning, for instance. They still have an idea of what goes on in the end-to-end basic supply chain. And in each one of the certification exams, we also have questions from those common learning blocks. So even if you sort of reviewed them already, it's just good to kind of go over them again. It's a much shorter amount of content than the regular learning blocks, but still useful and necessary information to study there. Okay, so I just want to go over a few of the benefits that we feel are great for professionals. Once the certification exam is taken and passed, students receive a digital certification endorsed by the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals, CSCMP. Research shows that employees stay at a company longer if they feel that that company invests in their career development. More employees prefer to learn at their own pace. I know that's not true with all. And employees say that they will spend more time learning if management suggests which professional development or which course they should pursue. I'm going to pass over the presentation to Dr. Steele now. Preston, I just want to make sure that you can hear and see what's going on.
I can hear and I can see.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. And Preston Steele, I'm the Associate Dean for the supply chain programs. We do have 2 programs in supply chain. One is the Associates of Science in Supply Chain Management Operations. The entry requirement that program would be either a high school diploma or a GPA, or excuse me, a GED, and a GPA of 2.0 or higher from the high school diploma or GED. Now, one great thing about the content that Joelle was describing is we have taken and embedded all of the content into our courses. So for someone who has taken the SC Pro Fundamental certification, any of them, and passed or received a passing score, we would actually take those passing scores and it would translate into a course that you would get credit for. So with there being 8 of those classes, 8 of those certifications, 8 of those certifications would then equal 8 classes that a person looking to earn an associate's degree could CLEP out of. So it saves time and it saves money. And then it would get you through the associate's degree program a little faster than it would typically for someone that might not have those certifications. Now, if you're someone who's interested in going for an associate's degree, the certification tracks are also embedded in the program and you would take those as part of the course. So Joel, if I could have the next page. Now going on from the associate's program, once you've earned an associate's degree, and it does not have to be in supply chain management, you just have to have an earned associate's degree, you would then be eligible to apply for the Bachelor's of Applied Science in Supply Chain Management. And the entry requirements for the Bachelor's of Applied Science in Supply Chain Management is that you would have to have an earned associate's degree, whether that's an AA or an AS, and you would have to have a 2.0 GPA or higher from that AA or AS. And now in the upper, I say upper division courses, the bachelor's level courses, none of the certification tracks are there because we would have the expectation that they're completed with the basic knowledge within the AS program. So if you already have an associate's degree and you would be interested in going for the credit side and going on in for a Bachelor's of Applied Science, you could do so, but you wouldn't be taking any of the certifications as part of the program. You could take them outside of the program and earn credit for them, and possibly use some of those courses as elective courses for the supply chain, BAS and supply chain. You wouldn't really be taking them as part of the Bachelor's of Applied Science program. So.
Thank you, Preston.
I think, Joelle, yeah. Oh, go ahead. I was about to say, I think that those were the 2 slides that I wanted to speak about.
They are, and I just wanted to thank you for reviewing the credit for prior learning. I hadn't thought of that, but anyone that does want to sort of dip their toes in to see that they're not quite committed yet to starting a degree program, taking the non-credit classes outside of our AS program or AS degree rather will earn you credit with a passing certification exam. And as Preston said, that's for all 8 of these certification courses. So thank you, Preston, for that reminder.
Yeah, and I just one more thing to speak on about that. Oh, I apologize. One thing that I wanted to speak on about that is there are several reasons when you credit for prior learning, but for someone that might not have been in school for a while, or someone that might have been hesitant to go to school, these are ways that you can sit through a course without having it to be for credit. And once you build your confidence after you've taken all 8 and you've passed, you're like, hey, I think I could do this, and I really want to go for my degree. It's good to learn that you're able to do it, and it's kind of in an academic setting, so you're saying, hey, this isn't so bad, and then it earns you a path into the agreed program. So it's just a way to show that you can get smaller successes along the way, build the confidence, and if you are someone that might have been hesitant to go and go to college or had to do other things in life because life demanded other things of you, this is just a way to get your foot into the door and have earned some of those credits before you start the degree. So thank you.
Thank you. I do want to also mention for the 4 credit program, Alexa had said, you know, how long is the self-study? So for all of our coursework, as I mentioned, we allow a full year to study the content and then take that exam. And in the 4 credit classes, it's generally an 8-week course. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Preston. An 8-week course. The exams are scheduled, but you still have access to that content and then to retake the exam should anything happen or reschedule for a full year. So there's a little bit of a
Right.
difference there.
All of our courses for the credit side of the house, the way that we have our program structured for supply chain specifically, instead of going for a traditional 16-week semester, we've broken that 16-week semester up into 2 different sessions, which we call session 2 and session 4. Those are both 8 weeks in length. And we've kind of geared it for the working adult, where we have an express program that's offered on a Friday night and then a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. So you would take 3 classes each 8-week terms. We've got a guaranteed schedule that if you follow our schedule, you'll be done in a year and a half. If with the associates, a year and a half, and then another year and a half for the bachelor's level program. Now, if you're someone that doesn't want to come to class on a Friday night or Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, we also have an solely online program where it's asynchronous. You meet whenever you feel like you need to meet, and it's kind of self-guided with an instructor in the class. So we have both the in portion and the online portion for both the AS and the BAS programs.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Preston. I think we'll take questions now if anyone has them. Yes. Ekaterina, it looks like, and I'm so sorry, I may be butchering your
Hi.
name.
No,
Hi.
no problem. You said it right.
Oh, good.
What about if somebody completed a bachelor's degree with Broward College in supervision and management? How can we have another? Can we have another bachelor's in supply chain management?
Gonna kick that over to Preston. There we go.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And what you do is you send your
I'm
transcripts
sorry, it's
in,
breaking.
and we would
Yeah.
evaluate any of the best. Oh, I apologize. This a
That's
little
okay.
better?
Yeah, it is.
What we would do is we would ask that you send your transcript in for evaluation. And we would look for any courses that we could give you credit for that you take for our bachelor's degree, give you credit for that and apply it to the Bachelor's of Applied Science for supply chain. And then you would take the courses that you would need specifically for the supply chain.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Y'all are a quiet group.
I have a question.
Oh, please, yes.
Good afternoon. Bob
afternoon.
Gleason, Director of Purchasing here, and Preston and I have had conversations in the past. Could you expand a little bit, perhaps, on any certificates or certifications short of a degree? If you have any of that you could expand on a little bit for this audience?
Absolutely. Hi, Bob. Nice to talk to you. So I'm sharing a screen started off with here in the beginning that lists all 8 of our certifications that are able to be taken in a non-for-credit way. So any of these can be taken upfront. You could start off with principles and then take another one sort of as an elective, whatever you may want. Our program is quite flexible in how a participant may want to study or access our program.
Okay,
So
that's helpful, because I think, as a fairly complex public body, I mean, we have the seaport, Fort Everglades,
Right.
we have the airport, we've got parks and recreation with multiple parks throughout the county. We have surplus property, warehousing, inventory management. We have transportation with the transit authority and all that. I see a lot of alignment here, with the exception of maybe manufacturing and service operations. So it
Right.
would be beneficial from a public procurement and public, business activity for some of these to be extended to not only the people within the purchasing division, but also perhaps to personnel that work at the port, the airport, and parks and so forth. So that's
Absolutely.
helpful.
I do want to mention too, Bob, that well, two of our most popular certification courses here are the principles course, the supply chain management principles up in the upper left-hand corner. That is sort of like that end-to-end supply chain, goes into a little bit of detail on each one of these certifications, but it's its own certification course.
Okay.
And then the
Yeah, that's
second
good.
one is transportation operations. It's our second popular, sometimes up there with principles. But for the purpose of y'all, I sort of just went into detail on the supply chain management principles and then that procurement track.
Right.
I didn't know if that would be something that was of interest to this group, or if there would be maybe cross training that you'd want to kind of go into. So you want to cross train your procurement team with customer service or something like that. That happens with some of our organizations as well. But they're so flexible and kind of allow that self-study time, so that anyone can take their time, and then when they're ready or they feel they're ready, sit for the exam.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Good.
And
Of
I would just
course.
highlight that a lot of this was brought to our attention for those of us who had to survive through the days of COVID, trying to find supply chains that would provide anything in any amount of time. It definitely highlighted the need to understand the upstream and downstream aspects of sourcing and procurement, so that we could provide the public and our clients what they needed when they needed it, and so forth. So I know personally I was climbing the supply chain all the way back up to the factories. So I got started to get familiar with Ex Works kinds of business deals. And so anyway, I want to thank you. Let's see if there's any more questions.
Alexa just popped into the chat and said, do you have to recertify after a number of years? With these fundamental certifications, you do not. There's no CEU needed, no recertification. Once it's earned, you have it, and you have those that digital certification you can add to your LinkedIn, to your signature, wherever you want to add that. But no, with the fundamentals, you do not need to recertify. Great question.
Now, just as a plug for CSEMP, because you've been a great business partner of ours for so long, after you've earned your fundamentals, they have other levels of exams all the way up to the C-suite level. So you could, after fundamentals exam, look at the next level, which is going to be another certification, but it's going to be a lot more than ours. And then there's one that's an executive level. So they have different levels of certifications. Certification.
Thank you, Preston. That's an excellent point. So once somebody earns even just one of these fundamentals is their trademark, CSEMP's trademark. So one of these fundamental certifications, they are then eligible to take the bridge exam is what they refer to it as, and it bridges that individual to the level 1 certification from CSCMP. Now, we recommend if somebody's still sort of entry level and learning about the supply chain, that they go through at least 4 of the certifications, but it's not necessary. So if they feel like, listen, this is way too basic for me, it's a little too fundamental, once they've earned one of these certifications, they can then bridge to level 1. Okay.
So I just
Go
shared
ahead.
something with you, Joelle, and Preston. This is something you can extend to your students. We're members of various professional associations and organizations. I'm an honorary member for NASPO. I've been on the national board, et cetera. And they do have a student membership that is free, and it provides a variety of different benefits to your students or anybody who's in the supply chain logistics areas. So I just provided you the link, and if you have any students who would like to get a free textbook, which is really cool, it's probably about $100 value, and it comes to them free. they're welcome. You're welcome to extend that to them. Public procurement is a sort of a niche within the procurement field, acquisition field. We've got the Federal Defense Acquisition University. At the federal level, we have NCMA. At the local level, we have NIGP, National Institute of Governmental Purchasing. And amongst the states, there's the National Association of State Procurement Officials. So these are areas that we're all always looking to sort of work together with our partners in supply chain. And we're also looking for employees. So we offer internships and other areas that might be beneficial to your students. And I would welcome any future conversations along that line too.
Thank you, Bob. That's amazing. I really appreciate this. I'll definitely share this, pass this along to our current students.
Thank you. Thanks
Of
for
course.
presenting.
Yeah, my pleasure. Anytime.
Okay,
And
so
I'm happy.
I'm not seeing any additional, sorry, Joelle.
That's
Not
okay.
seeing any additional questions in the chat. Would anyone else like to raise their hand or come off mic and ask Joelle and Dr. Steele any questions about their supply chain education programs? Okay, well, you see on the screen there, Joelle has provided us with her contact information as well as Dr. Steele's. So if you have any additional questions with regards to Broward College Center for Supply Chain Education, feel free to reach out to them directly, or you can, route it through me, whichever way. Let's go ahead and give Broward College our thanks for coming and presenting to us virtually today and sharing this information. Joelle, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I just wanted to say it was our absolute pleasure. If you'd like us to go into detail about any of the specific courses or have another presentation, we'd be happy to anytime. And as Alexa mentioned, you can reach out to me or Dr. Steele if you have any questions. And I'll be sharing the presentation and any documents I sort of spoke about during the presentation with you, Alexa, and you can feel free to hand those out at your discretion.
Okay, great. And when we receive that information, as you guys know, this session is being recorded. So we will provide you guys with a link to our Lunch and Learn series. So if there's anyone else, any other agencies that were not able to attend, but that you feel this information would be beneficial or useful to them, feel free to forward the link on our Lunch and Learn series. Thank you guys.
Thank
Happy
you.
Friday Eve.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye.